And this time there is clear visual evidence that Pakistan and the terror links that it has have been struck at by the Indian armed forces. There is a video which has now emerged of Pakistani army honoring the killed terrorists in Muridke. Muridke is the Lashkar-e-Taiba headquarters. Pakistan army generals can be seen at the terrorist funeral. The soldiers are carrying coffins. The funeral of terrorists Qari Abdul, Khalid and Mudassir in Muridke was led by a Lashkar terrorist. That's the significance of this. Hafiz Abdul Rauf and several members of the civil bureaucracy stood there in attendance. In fact, there is a wreath placed by the Chief of Army Staff for the Muridke terrorists. So clearly, this has struck at the hub of terrorists in Muridke at the Lashkar headquarters. And remember, as I said earlier, Masood Azhar has also admitted through a statement issued from his office that at least 10 members of his relatives and 4 key associates have died in the Indian strike. What does all of this mean? How should we interpret Operation Sindoor? Are we now on an escalatory ladder? Those are the questions I want to pose. Joining me now, Colonel Ajay Shukla, Consulting Editor, Strategic Affairs and a Strategic Affairs Analyst. Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma joins me, former Adjutant General. KC Singh, former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs. Air Marshal BPS Rana is with us as well, and will be joined by other guests right through, including former Chiefs of Staff. I appreciate all of you joining us on the show today. I want to come to you, Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma. What's your big takeaway from what has happened in the last 24 hours, purely in military terms? How significant is Operation Sindoor, the fact that we went all the way into Bahawalpur and Muridke and targeted terror camps?
Thank you, Rajdeep, for inviting me. The first and foremost is that we broke the glass ceiling. We crossed the Rubicon of hitting Punjab for the first time from 1971. We have been targeting POK over a long period of time, but hitting Punjab, which is the heartland of the Pakistan army, is also the heartland of Pakistan in Sialkot, in Bahawalpur, and in Muridke. All 3 places would have hurt Pakistan psychologically. It would have affected tremendously. That's one major issue. Second is that we have made sure that there is an escalation dominance. We did not do general mobilization. We did not order leave to be cancelled largely. And we carried out all these operations, giving clear indication that we have no intention of escalation to conventional war. So that became a clear hindrance to Pakistan in planning their operations thereafter. And third issue, which major one, is that there is now a ceasefire violation. The ceasefire, which was standing for last couple of years, is deemed as dead. And that's what the issue which now Pakistan is taking advantage of, which your correspondents, Shamani and all, were talking just now. So the fact of the matter is that there is a ceasefire violation. There are 600 kilometers of villages all along the line of control, right up to Samba, opposite Samba, which are targetable. It's not Poonch, Udi and Titwal alone, but there are areas of Nashera, of Joria, of areas of Katwa. So, there's a vast variety, large number of people who are tilling other side of the line of the fence. And these are becoming now areas. And the LG today morning ordered these people to be withdrawn. Sorry?
Right. And no, I get your sense. You made a very important point there about the first time we've broken a kind of Rubicon when we've gone into Punjab since 1971, when we've targeted Muridke and Bahawalpur. Ajay Shukla, do you believe that that is the big significance we've shown using missile technology, using our air power as well as military power to send out a message that we can do precise targeting? When I look at that statement of the that was issued last night by the government of India, it was very clear that these were measured, de-escalatory and focused targeted attacks.
Yes, there is no doubt about that. The entire planning of this current sort of trans-border incident has been done with a lot more sense and a lot more effort and a lot more sort of thought than had been done in the last two times when the surgical strikes were there and then followed by the Pulwama sort of truck attack. It is in a way the Indian Army getting ready for a new kind of war, putting its drills and so on in their place. In the morning today, the army had held a press conference where it showed the evidence of what it was trying to prove. It showed the evidence, the visual evidence of the buildings and so on, which were struck by the bombs from the Indian side. And all in all, it is just becoming more professional, more sort of clear, and with that, all that makes it easy for the spectators or for the people from abroad or from the international media to actually come and put together the thing and verify the story, as it were. So there are still a couple of things that need to be clarified and sort of presented. One of them being this allegations about the downing of Indian aircraft. But I'm sure that going by what I've seen today, the Indian Army probably would be able to muster up the evidence.
But there is no verifiable evidence as yet that Pakistan has provided, Ajay, on their claim that 5 Indian jets have been downed.
Yes, there absolutely has not been. Whatever little evidence I've seen is, a few parts of an aircraft lying here or there. That could be anything. It's not necessarily an Indian Air Force fighter plane that was downed today. In fact, that evidence, the downing today and the freshness of the crash site is something that is very important at this point in time. But yeah, absolutely right. There has been no concrete evidence presented by the Pakistanis yet.
Hey, Marshal, VPS Rana, the significance of what we've seen today, purely in terms of the kind of precision strikes, wherein air power and artillery power and military power has been used. You're on mute, sir. Yes.
Yes, Rajdeep. So there are some very, very peculiar things about this particular attack. The first time India has done the preemptive, you please remember in 71 and earlier, it was always the Pakistan which had done the preemptive. This is the first time we have done preemptive, and we have done in Punjab, which you rightly covered. This is the first time that the terror network deep inside has been struck. But what is the most important point in this attack is, one, it is the selection is very, very careful. Each and every site has been linked to the previous terrorist attack. Then another important point is that the attack has been very, very precise. Third important point has been, it has been a synergized approach by the Army and Air Force combined. And probably that was the time taken where it has been a little delay. Probably was this to synergize all effort, all kind of weapons that have been used, the organic weapon of the army, the UAVs, most likely it has been the air-launched cruise missiles, and also probably the other precise munition. So it is very, very carefully chosen, well-calibrated, very precise attack, not targeting any military, not having any collateral damage whatsoever. So thereby telling and signaling that we can go to wherever we want precisely, deep inside.
So you're saying it's been in that sense taken to another level, and that brings me, KC Singh, to a critical element of what we are seeing. When Uri happened, there was an element of deniability that Pakistan had, that we've suffered no damage. When Balakot happened, the Pakistanis said we've suffered no damage. This time, India has provided real-time evidence, both in its press conference, admirably conducted by 2 women officers, where they gave precise information, real-time video evidence, visual evidence backed by the likes of Masood Azhar admitting that Jaish associates and family members have suffered losses by Lashkar holding funerals of their terrorists in Muridke. That seems to me the big difference. Would you agree that therefore this particular attack will carry far greater weight across global capitals as well?
Well, I'd like to add a few dimensions to it. One is, of course, under the UN Charter, Article 51 permits you self-defense, including a preemptive attack. So what we've done is not illegal. It's permissible under the UN Charter. But more than that, it was also retaliatory. And that's what Prime Minister said in his speech, that we will hunt these guys who have done what they have done in Pahalgam. So it's not just a preemptive attack, it's also a retaliatory attack. But you're absolutely right. Going into Punjab and to the headquarters of Jaish and Lashkar, it's always been thought of, always, I think, after 26/11. Probably it was considered, then the Americans stepped in because they were still in Afghanistan. We didn't do it. But the other, elephant in the room is the nuclear capability of Pakistan. So there's a nuclear bluff that Pakistan has been using, and it is not a coincidence that Pakistan starts using terror against India as a weapon from about the end of 1980, when they already had developed the nuclear weapons. They didn't do that earlier. So the two things go together. And that's why about a week ago, when I'd written a piece and I said, before we go after the headquarters of these groups, we need a good missile defense. We need something like what Israel has. Then you don't need blackouts and so on and so forth. The signal goes out to Pakistan that 5 or 6 major cities will be protected and your missiles will have 2 chances in 100 to penetrate. But once you fire them, we'll obliterate you, which means you eliminate Pakistan's nuclear bluff. This time we've gone without that, but we are calling their bluff because after all, see, even Ukraine is fighting Russia. Russia keeps saying, I'll use nuclear weapons. But countries cannot use nuclear weapons just whimsically. They'll not be acceptable globally. So we have called their bluff. We said we are doing it. Now, let's see what you want to do next. And that is why I think it's important how Pakistan reacts. Will it be just symbolic, like they did last time? They kind of came and hit outside a military facility, and they said, that's it. But they had also downed one of our planes, and so on and so forth. Now, this time they are again claiming they've downed 5 planes. Interestingly, India has not spoken up. We've not denied it. We've not questioned it. It may be useful if they think that can satisfy the Pakistani public opinion and they need not retaliate very harshly. Then we can probably come to some kind of an understanding. But the problem that still remains is the use of water. Because we've said the Indus Water Treaty is in abeyance. We started stopping and releasing water and therefore showing that water can be a weapon. That'll also be in the Pakistani minds. And therefore, what is interesting is, do they do a symbolic attack or do they choose specific targets? I'm worried about one thing. One of the MPs said, you've gone after our mosques, we'll go after your temples. Now, if they start going after some prime temples in the Jammu area, that can worsen the polarization in India. And the second is, if they come after, just one point, if they come after the dams that we have in Jhelum and Chenab and say, because India is stopping the water, we are taking it out, that'll be very popular in Pakistan, but that would escalate it. So I don't know where Pakistan wants to stop.
With due regard, Casey, let's not speculate, because we could speculate endlessly about what Pakistan does. I look at Shahbaz Sharif's statement. He's trying to, in some way, it appears, try to clutch at straws. You've got the military in Pakistan, which clearly has been taken aback, I think, by the skill with which this operation has been carried out, the seamless skill with which it has been carried out. So we don't know what Pakistan will do next. But General Sharma, you want to quickly come in on that? What are the possibilities of the kind of retaliation that Pakistan will do? A quick comment on that.
Thank you. See, the first point is that Pakistan has a short window. They don't have a window of 2 weeks like what we had to target, because they'll come under international pressure. They have a whole lot of money packed up to come back to Pakistan, so they can strike tonight or tomorrow night. Beyond that, the window will close. So the Pakistan's timing is very short. Now, what can they do? Can they, like you rightly pointed out, can they take saying whatever we have done is enough? So bask into the glory of the villages being hit and also the aircraft downed, and then they say some brigade headquarters have been hit as what's been stated in Pakistan. Is that
But
sufficient?
that's all propaganda. There are no brigade headquarters. You see, the problem is Pakistan at the moment is thriving on propaganda just to satisfy a domestic constituency. The truth of the matter is what Operation Sindoor has done, General Sharma, is expose the terror links. When I see terrorists with the army generals in Muridke at the funeral of terrorists.
The point is kinetic response. Yes. So the other part of the story is that they try and do a kinetic response, something beyond it. Like Ambassador K.C. Singh has said about the water, we have cut 11 times less water has reached Marala headworks in Chenab in 24 hours. So, you know, the total water supply in Marala headworks in Chenab has gone down nearly to zilch. So there is a great amount of damage which is happening on the water supply in the Kharif crop, which is May and June. So that also is an issue around here. I would just say in the end is that where can they hit? They have no terrorist camps to hit in India. Can they hit in a infrastructure? If they hit an infrastructure, they will get a debilitating attack back into their infrastructure. Would they hit into some kind of military establishment or airfields? Well, that can be an option of taking an odd thing. Or lastly, to a choreographed response, what they did after Balakot, hit some vacant land ground and said, look, we didn't hit your camp or we didn't hit your airfields, but we hit close to it and we have the capability of hitting it. So they have multiple options here.
Before we go into what options Pakistan has, let's focus on what's happened today once again. Because I think today is significant in more ways than one in the manner in which the messaging has taken place. Javed Ashraf, former Indian ambassador to France and someone who's worked closely with the National Security Advisor's office, is also joining me. Javed, what is the significance, you believe, of what's happened in the last 24 hours?
Well, I think it is enormous. First of all, it is not a surprise given the kind of clarity with which the Prime Minister has repeatedly drawn the line on the objectives of our retaliation, and given the fact that over the last few years, our increasingly aggressive posture on counter-terrorism hasn't deterred Pakistan from persisting with the campaign of terrorism against India. So this was, in a sense, expected. Muridke and Bahawalpur are extremely important for all of us who have followed terrorism from Pakistan. Know that these are the two major nurseries of terrorism. Even the United States couldn't get them to dismantle these when they were trying to condition assistance and specifically mention these establishments. So going after these two, in addition to the 7, is a hugely symbolic and a real measure of showing that we are capable of going beyond anticipated and war-gamed responses to Pakistan's persisting campaign of terrorism against India. And so this is very, very important. Second, I think it has shown that we have been able to mobilize ourselves in a matter of couple of weeks for a strike of this nature, taking into account the prospect of retaliation, for which we would mean that we would also have to be in a position to dominate the future steps of escalation. So all of these would have been wargamed. It shows our political leadership and our military leadership is prepared to take acceptable risks, and that we have also, speaking internationally, reverse the terms of responses or patterns of responses after each major attack. In the sense, in the past, we would end up having international community intervene to de-escalate. I mean, if you remember, even after Mumbai and before that in Parliament attack, but this time, by taking a preemptive steps to, we have, in a sense, given the international community a fait accompli. So this is a very important step. And that we've also shown the world, in a sense, that if no one else is going to come behind in taking a very clear position on terrorism emanating from Pakistan, then we are prepared to act on our own. And any military action will not be without consequences, without cost. The big question that we would have wargamed is what is the real Pakistani calculation, thinking, capability, and capacity to respond, given the fragility of their economy, the political instability inside the country. And so I think that, as you just heard, when we look at what the responses will be, I mean, we don't have a terrorism infrastructure for them to attack. They will either be civilian infrastructure or civilian targets or military targets, in which case they are saying that we are declaring a full-scale war. And I think that will lead to a level of retaliation from India, which would, be very hard for them to respond to. And second, I think their international position will be even further weakened as a result. So all in all, I think, yes, last night, I mean, it's an evolving situation, but I think it does take a lot of political courage and clarity.
But
And
has it
also, I think for the military to be able to take this kind of a measure and simultaneously attack 9 sites, including 2 very important ones.
But Javed, has it acted, you believe, as a deterrent? The big question now is, have what we've done in the last 24 hours pushed Pakistan into a situation where, for all the rhetoric, there is now a recognition that we have reworked our own strategic doctrine and used kinetic action to another level to push Pakistan into a situation where they have limited options?
Now, I don't think that this may be a deterrent for some time, but remember, this can act as a great mobilizing force, whether it is, water, for example, is a very emotional subject. You've seen that, and I've just written about it. You've seen that in the context of India and Nepal. You've seen that in the context of India and Bangladesh, happens between states in India. So that becomes a major rallying point to recruit people to the cause. The increasing disruption of ties between our countries is easy to get people to fall for life's sacrificing causes. It is also, remember, this attack like this can be a force for mobilization. And for
No,
a
because
country...
I'm showing images there of Masood Azhar, someone who, remember, has been involved in major attacks, whether it's been on Parliament, whether it's been on Pulwama, the Jaish has been involved. Has the message gone to groups like Jaish and Lashkar in a manner that never went in the past?
You see, the message is very clearly there that there is no shield of security anymore for them. But that does not mean that Pakistan will not find new ways, or the Pakistan military will not find new ways to create camps, to create new infrastructure. We've seen that in other cases also. I mean, you've seen the limits of military force from Sahel to Middle East to Afghanistan in absolutely dismantling and terrorism network or deterring future attacks, particularly when it is the sword and the shield of a major military power in our region. So I think there will be a level of deterrence. There will be a level of uncertainty. The playbook has changed. The shield of security may have vanished, but I think it would perhaps require, a great leap of faith to say that we have, in a sense, deterred any future terrorist attacks from us. We'll have to,
in a moment, I'm going to be joined by Air Chief Marshal Bhaduria and former Army Chief Bikram Singh. But a final word from you there, KC Singh. Do you believe that the world today will stand with India given what's happened?
Look, it's largely known who will stand with you. If Turkey is standing with Pakistan today, the Greeks came out in a favor. The Chinese position is the most interesting. They have condemned the attacks, but they're not taking a very aggressive position. Because remember, with the trade war with US, they're also looking at India as a potential market. If their trade war with US worsens, they need India. So it's not visible. The Chinese may be playing very silently a positive role, hopefully a positive role in restraining the Pakistanis. We'll know over the next few days, because it doesn't suit them to open a new front in South Asia when they still haven't settled their trade war with US, which they consider as of existential danger to them. So there's a big change because of what Trump has done to the world. The whole world is distracted. For instance, who brought about the de-escalation last time? President Trump. He was somewhere in East Asia. He intervened, and within 2-3 days, we got an Air Force pilot back, and we had the elections coming up. The same Trump today said, "Oh, I see, this has happened. They've been fighting for." What he meant is, "I'm too busy. Go and sort out your problem." So the world is different. I think we have a lot more space to act independently. And also, some of the alliances are changing, some of the combinations are changing, but we have space at the moment geostrategically to act independently.
Okay, I just want to give Ajay Shukla also a final word. Ajay, what's according to you, in a way, why is this day significant?
Well, the day is significant, Rajdeep, because of the nature of what has been attempted and launched from the Indian side, which is deep attacks inside Pakistan in order to create deterrence. But I am just call me skeptical, but I believe that there is always room in an operation like this to get it better, to get it right, so that the next time you have to do it, you don't make the same mistakes, you don't have to incur the same casualties and so on. So well done, I would say, Indian Air Force, but make sure that you keep your nose to the grindstone, develop your drills and so on well, and the next time round it'll go hopefully even more smoothly.
Let me leave it there. I appreciate my guest joining me at this moment.